Welcome back, everyone. I'm Jordan Giesecke, and this is The Limiting Factor. In the Q1 2025 earnings call, Tesla gave us an update on how the trade war between China and the US affects them, including where they stand with battery constraints in general, and how, in the last few years, they've managed to fully decouple their 4680 battery supply chain from China. So today, as usual, I'll walk you through the key points, provide analysis, and discuss the implications. Before we begin, a special thanks to my Patreon supporters, YouTube members, and Twitter subscribers, as well as Rebellionaire.com. They specialize in helping investors manage concentrated positions. Rebellionaire can help with covered calls, risk management, and creating a money master plan from your financial first principles. In Tesla's Q4 earnings call in January, Elon said that Tesla was battery constrained. In my subsequent quarterly earnings call video, I said that at least for vehicles, that didn't appear to be the case, but the situation could change later in the year with the ramp of new, more affordable vehicles. However, I said that help was potentially on the way from the 4680 production line in Austin and from LG Chem and Panasonic, which are currently bringing new factories online. My analysis was confirmed in the Q1 earnings call when Karan Buttigieg said, quote, "We've been working very hard to expand battery cell production in the US, both with vendors and with the 4680 program. As it stands right now, we're not battery constrained on battery supply for vehicles," end quote. But Karan also said, quote, "We have a slight disconnect of aligning the right cells with the right pack. So that's a little bit of a puzzle that we have to solve internally," end quote. What did he mean by that? Currently, all of the 4680 cells that Tesla produces in Austin are used in the Cybertruck, and all of the 2170 cells produced in Nevada are used in the Model 3 and Y. If, for example, Tesla dramatically increases the production of the 4680, they could use it in lower-cost versions of the Model 3 and Y. Pretty straightforward so far. However, if Tesla also starts purchasing battery cells from the new Panasonic and LG Chem factories that are coming online, matching the cell, pack, and vehicle production ramps from 3 or 4 different cell factories could get very complicated very quickly. The team at Tesla is certainly up to that challenge, but they'll want to minimize the engineering, capital investment, and supply chain pain as much as possible, which means a lot of mental cycles devoted to battery Tetris. Moving along, although Tesla's confirmed that they aren't battery constrained for vehicles, there are now some potential risks with their energy storage products, which is due to the trade war between the US and China. Vaibhav Taneja said, quote, "The impact of tariffs on the energy business will be outsized since we source LFP battery cells from China. We're in the process of commissioning equipment for the local manufacturing of LFP battery cells in the US. However, the equipment which we have can only service a fraction of our total installed capacity at Lathrop. We've also been working on securing additional supply chain from non-China-based suppliers, but it will take time," end quote. Let's work through each point that Vaibhav made. In the last quarterly earnings call, I said that rumors have been swirling for over a year now that Tesla's purchased production equipment from CATL to produce LFP cells in-house at Giga Nevada. Vaibhav's comments about bringing equipment online for local manufacturing appear to confirm that. Here's what we know or what's rumored about that production equipment. First, it's rumored to be 10 gigawatt hours of production capacity. If that's true, it's a good start. But as Vaibhav indicated, it would be far short of the 40 gigawatt hours needed to cover Tesla's US Megapack production from Lathrop. On that note, second, it could take a couple of years for the line or lines they purchased from CATL to hit volume production. Third, those lines are likely going to produce CATL's dominant cell type, prismatic, which is best suited for grid storage products. Fourth, following from that, Tesla's adoption of LFP prismatic cells for grid storage appears to confirm that, as I've said in the past, it doesn't make sense for Tesla to use LFP 4680s in their energy storage products. With that said, I still think they could use LFP 4680s as a great workhorse cell for vehicles like the Cybercab. Fifth, I'm assuming the LFP lines will use a wet process to coat the electrodes with active material, because that's what CATL uses. If they do, my guess is that it would be a temporary crutch while Tesla learns to produce prismatic LFP cells and masters the dry coating process with the 4680. Then, for future lines, they could deploy equipment for dry-coated prismatic LFP cells. So the good news here is that Tesla's laying the groundwork for fully vertically integrated Megapack production in the US. That will pay dividends in the future in the form of supply chain resilience and lower battery costs. The bad news is that the prismatic LFP cell production in Nevada won't contribute meaningfully any time in the next year to Tesla's cell supply for their energy storage products. Due to that, as Vaibhav said, Tesla's also been working on securing battery supply for their grid storage products from non-China-based suppliers, but it'll take time. That last comment is a concern, because if the tariffed battery cells are prohibitively expensive and cause a production shutdown, it would mean Tesla loses out on about $1 billion per month of revenues. Thankfully, later in the call, Karn provided some reassurance when he said, quote, "The recent tariffs do pose some challenges to Tesla Energy, but it's something we've been anticipating and we should be able to resolve in a timely fashion." End quote. The question is, what is Karn's definition of timely? I don't think anyone, even Tesla, has a precise answer to that question right now. But if the tariff chaos continues, it's worth bracing ourselves for lower revenues and/or profits on energy storage products in upcoming earnings calls. Let's just hope that, as Tesla's indicating, it's short-lived. With battery constraints out of the way, let's move on to Tesla's battery materials supply chain. First, Elon reinforced that Tesla's the most vertically integrated car company since Ford was mining their own iron about 100 years ago. Tesla has both a lithium refinery coming online this year in South Texas and a cathode refinery in Giga Austin. Elon said that the lithium refinery will be the largest in the world outside of China, and it has room for expansion. How big is it? In the past, Elon said the refinery will supply enough lithium for 1 million vehicles per year. So, at a minimum, it has plenty of capacity to feed Tesla's growth ambitions in the United States for the next few years. Second, Elon said that Tesla still has to figure out what to do about the anode material. As you'll know if you watched my video on the topic, I've been anticipating that Tesla will have to build anode refining capacity in the US, likely synthetic anode produced from oil byproducts in the Gulf states. Given that they haven't committed to anode production yet, if they do start producing anode, it's going to take several years to bring online. In the meantime, as we'll see in a moment, Tesla likely has an anode supplier outside of China as part of their multi-sourcing strategy for the 4680. Obviously, as Elon pointed out, the best anode would be no anode. What did he mean by that? The anode refers to the graphite-coated copper foil that stores lithium ions when the battery is charged. Elon is saying that we should ditch the graphite and plate pure lithium metal directly to the copper foil. However, it's going to be 5 years or more before that technology is mature enough to meet all the demands of Tesla's battery cells. Maybe Tesla has something up their sleeve, but it's not likely given that in the earnings call, Elon said they better have the anode to make the cell. The third key point was that Tesla has spent the last 2 years multi-sourcing every component from at least 2 different countries for their in-house 4680 battery cells. Given that China has a monopoly on cell components, that would have been a grueling process, but worth it because it means that Tesla's in-house 4680 production is highly insulated from supply chain shocks. That is, unlike the battery cell supply from vendors, it appears that Tesla's 4680 supply chain is already completely decoupled from China. The fourth key point was that Tesla's 4680 is the lowest cost per kilowatt hour of any of the cells that Tesla purchases from suppliers in the US. This is something that Tesla said before, but it's worth reinforcing because after 5 years, Tesla's starting to deliver on the promise of Battery Day. Bonnie Eggleston followed up on Elon's cell cost comment with what was, in my view, the most exciting comment in the earnings call for battery nerds. He said, quote, "The plan this year is to really build off that base. Getting to the lowest cost it's the hardest challenge for cell manufacturing. It's relatively easy to build a flashy product that does one thing well. To build something at high volume, low cost is super difficult. And we're kind of using that as a base then to build off and add performance in different areas for new products coming out." End quote. That is, Tesla has been 100% focused on getting their dry coating process working, scaling the production of the 4680, and driving down costs. That means they haven't yet started to focus on pushing the performance envelope. Given that the 4680 is already on par with the best high-volume battery cells on the market in terms of energy density, and Tesla can produce them cheaper than they can buy battery cells from Panasonic at Giga Nevada, that's impressive. What happens when Tesla starts focusing on performance improvements to charging speed, energy density, and cycle life instead of just solving problems with the manufacturing process? There's a good chance that they're going to be producing the best all-around battery cells in the world at the lowest cost. That's what they teased at Battery Day, but it's been a winding road. While we're on the topic, how is the ramp of the fully dry 4680 coming along that was announced last year? We don't know yet because for the third quarter in a row, no one has asked about it on the earnings call. However, Bonnie recently did an interview with Monroe where he said that they've achieved a lot, and they have more to say on that soon. My view, which I've shared the last 3 earnings calls, is that I don't expect the production ramp of the fully dry 4680 to really start moving until the middle of this year. That's because Tesla planned to start production of that cell in Q4 of last year, and battery cell production ramps don't really see the needle move much for the first 6 months or longer. As a final note, Lars accidentally let it slip on the earnings call that Tesla is working on Ferrite motors. He said, quote, "And as we've mentioned in the past, we're working on Ferrite motors for some time." End quote. To my knowledge, Lars has never said that Tesla was working on Ferrite motors, meaning motors that use Ferrite magnets. The only thing we knew up to this point was from the comments at Investor Day, where Tesla simply said they were working on rare earth-free motors. It was a mystery what material they were going to use. Well, at least for those who didn't watch my Ferrite motors video. In that video, I said that my bet for the rare earth-free motor was on Ferrite magnets, so I'm glad to see that turned out to be correct. Ferrite magnets are made from iron oxide, so they're super cheap and abundant, but it's difficult to make a high-efficiency, high-power density motor with them. That's because ferrite magnets are weak and have a tendency to demagnetize. But it's possible to overcome those challenges with great engineering and software that can accurately model the magnetic fields of the motor, which Tesla has. In summary, I've said for years that one of the most strategically important actions for Tesla was to break their reliance on cell supply from China because it's a huge vulnerability. While the 4680 was exciting from a technical perspective, it was necessary from a risk management perspective. Now, Tesla's foresight is paying huge dividends. The 4680 battery supply chain rests outside of the hands of the Chinese monopoly. For their grid storage products that aren't suited for 4680 cells, Tesla has been working on in-house production of prismatic LFP battery cells and strengthening their non-China battery supply chain. So, although the recent tariffs have been a difficult broadside, it's a difficult situation rather than what could have been a devastating one. Tesla has plenty of cell supply for their vehicles, and the disruption to cell supply for their energy storage products should be temporary. Either way, as a result of the trade war, we can expect Tesla to place even more emphasis on their U.S. battery supply chain, further vertically integrate it, and expand it. That will set Tesla up as the only alternative in the world to the Chinese battery supply chain, That's impressive considering that they've developed their supply chain as a company rather than as a country. Yes, the ramp of the 4680 cells themselves has had challenges, but even without the dry coating process working for the cathode, they're the lowest cost cells available in the US, and they still have great all-around specs versus the competition. Some people will of course point out that the 4680 doesn't have the ridiculous charging speeds that some companies are achieving, but that's not the focus right now. As Bonnie said, and as I've said many times, with batteries it's easy to do one thing well. When Tesla finally has the fully dry cells in production, which my guess is still very early in the ramp, then they can finally start focusing on specs like energy density and charging speed. Based on what I've seen in Tesla's patents, I'm certain the engineers at Tesla are just as excited about pushing the performance limits of lithium-ion batteries as we are. But that's dessert, not the main course. Tesla has single-handedly built a battery supply chain that will not only benefit the company, but the US and the Western world. That's important because batteries are going to be a key factor in our prosperity in the coming decades, because they'll be critical to providing low-cost energy, which affects the cost of every good and service in the economy. So thank you to the team at Tesla for massively increasing the odds of a prosperous future. If you enjoyed this video, please consider supporting the channel by using the links in the description. Also, consider following me on X. I often use X as a testbed for sharing ideas, and X subscribers like my Patreon supporters generally get access to my videos a week early. On that note, a special thanks to my YouTube members, X subscribers, and all the other patrons listed in the credits. I appreciate all of your support, and thanks for tuning in.